Comrade Show. Wait, Comrade Lante Oriake. This is the Comrade Show.
Yes. Uh, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. On top of the day to you, all Nigerians across the world. This is the Comrade Show. Please, if you are joining me, please help share this broadcast. This is a very important broadcast, and there's been this trending matter relating to late, gospel singer Osinachi. I've been monitoring this matter in the course of the last number of days, and of course, a lot of people talking about it. And I had been resisting, actually, talked about it. I have known the girl personally. Her case is it's not an isolated case. It's just that her personality, because she's a gospel singer, a notable one at that, has made her case become global, more or less, and stuff like that. And so, but today I'm motivated to talk about it because I listened today to the pastor of Dunamis, I think is it Paul in Nature or something, trying to talk about, his own account, about this young lady's death and all that. And very many aspects of what he talked about, unfortunately, I tend to disagree. And I disagree somehow. A lot of commentaries I've listened to, regarding this girl's death, and of course, even what the Minister of the Women Affairs is doing with the family of the girl and all of that, everything, majorly, appear, very, let me not use the word disgusting, but it's not far from that, because of the way the matter is being talked about, largely the way government appear now to want to use this matter to score some point, with the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, and all of that. And I think it's just all nauseating. And I thought I'm going to speak to this matter. And of course, I'm going to call it let Nigerians know, hear the loud voice of Peter Obi in this woman's case, because this is where this matter is going to be very interesting. Okay, this is where it's going to be very interesting. Now, on the part of the late pastor of Dunamis Church, Paul and all he said, in line with what a lot of people have been saying, I want to say this. I think it's time, practically, that Nigerians begin to lose themselves from the grip of religion. This is important. Unfortunately, we see how millions of people who seek religious solutions to practical issues that should have practical, societal, social solutions to them. This lady's case, like I said earlier, it's not an isolated case. We hear of her case because she's a star in every respect. But I tell you, there are so many of her hearts, many Osinachis out there in that Nigeria. So many of them dying, wallowing. Some may not just die like the physical death, but some are already dead because of the level of what's it called, domestic violence taking place. Then another perspective to this is this. Because right now people are picking this Osinachi's case to want to deal with it. The federal minister of women affairs, they are already trying to take over the children, make it an isolated case. What happens to all the others and all of that? I should have been seeing a society where, as we speak right now, this lady's case will jumpstart a process of overhaul of the entire social security structure of Nigerian state. But that cannot happen because we don't even have the structure. Talk less of the one that we are going to, reform and stuff like that. But let's quickly zero down to specifics. A lot has been said about Peter Wanchuku, the husband of Osunachi. The domestic violence, the battering, the this, the that. So many things out there. So I'm going to start from that, from Coco Below, and I'm going to share a lot of experiences here and there. There is something that our society is very quiet about. I'm not forcing society, you know, it is practically because, society doesn't seem to be aware. The consciousness is not there. The people that we have elected into power to bring us to this awareness, to give us this orientation, to begin to set, the things straight for everybody to be aware, so that people can be more conscious. They are not doing their job. And so, as a matter of fact, everything in our society is dilapidated to the extent that if you do not do some basic things, some other things cannot be done. I don't know how many of us out there have heard of anything we call mental ill health, mental health problems. Now, in our society, in every society across this world, it's a major problem that threatens the very existence of societies. And if mental health issues are not dealt with appropriately, and if society is not brought to that consciousness where measures are taken to begin to address mental health issues, because mental health issues they come in different guise. Now, a society like ours is going to be very prevalent because of the level, the very inconvenient way of living, the very difficulty in eking out existence in our society. So it's going to be very highly prevalent. So at the end of the day, that man, that woman that may be involved in some of these vices leading to what we describe as, what's it called, wife battering, domestic violence and stuff like that. Somehow we just look at the matter from the face value. Now there is so much that go on under, so much, and that if proper investigation is carried out, we begin to understand, what are the things influencing a lot of these issues. And I'm going to try to, pick the ones I can pick out because these things it's quite vast. You understand? So please share the broadcast. It's interesting and it's important. Um, I start by saying again, of course, may the soul of this young girl, rest in the bosom of the Lord. May her soul find rest. The way she has died, has put out there, honestly, it's not right. It's quite sad. A young lady like this, promising, having a lot more to offer to society, and all of that. But so we're going to use our case right now as a symbol to represent, domestic violence, as it were. But I'm going to jump out of domestic violence right now to look at our society at large, generally, particularly looking at Nigeria. But I'm going to make a lot of reference to the UK. I live in the UK, and I work in mental health in a mental health institution. I work in a hospital where we deal with mental health patients and stuff like that. And right here in the UK, as in fact, there's a report that just came out right now that in the next 5 years, it is estimated that a million more persons are going to be admitted into various mental health institutions across the UK, which means that the UK right now is in dire need of having support workers, having psychiatrists, having mental health nurses, having all of these mental health carers, and all of these professionals that work with people who are mentally unstable. And when we talk of mental health illness, easily in Nigeria we are easy to just look at, we'll say a mad person, Chris person in the street, but this is way beyond that. A lot. There are people, they look even more normal than you and I in the street, but they have a lot of challenging issues that are mental health issues and all of that. I mean, there are people who are even. Last night I worked with children with eating disorder, that is classified as mental health issues, and with a few children that are having a very high rate of paranoia. There are people with bipolar disorder. Some you don't These things are not written on the face. There are people with serious depression. There are people with psychosis of varying degrees. There are people with psychosis that are alcohol induced, that are drug induced, that are psychosis can be induced from different things. And our society is such a society that I won't be surprised if investigation is carried out. Probably a reasonable percentage of every man in Nigeria, or even women, they have psychosis. Probably poverty-induced psychosis. Different kind of issues and all of that, and all of these things they translate into how we live our lives. Sometimes that man there who is very much involved in wife battering, or that woman there who's standing up to her husband and they are setting blows every now and again and all of that. Sometimes proper investigation is carried out. You find out that there are very serious health challenges that suppose our society was a better society. Many of these men, okay, that are involved in domestic violence, they are supposed to be sessioned. They are supposed to be in mental health institutions receiving treatment, receiving support, so that the issues, with mental health challenges will not escalate into bringing down society. And that's exactly what we have right now. Okay, since this issue of this girl broke, I don't know how true, but I saw one story of a young lady who was about getting married and all of that. Because of the pressure of people are now saying, oh, you will not die there. For you to die, just leave. She's about to get married. She has called off the marriage. She posted it happily on Facebook. You understand? Saying now this is, everybody's like okay and all of that. And I just imagine how many homes right now, because of this issue of Sister Osinachi, how many homes right now are near total collapse because this matter has now come to the fore. So people are now standing up to say, oh, we can't take this, even though some of these things may be things that can be managed. You understand what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, there is no perfect home out there. There is none. People grow in their marriages. They find ways to grow and all of that. This is not making excuse for homes where there are real serious challenges. But in the homes where there are serious challenges, society as a whole has failed. Failed because a lot of people have put everything, in the church or in the mosque, looking for religious solutions where they don't exist. And the fact and the truth remain that some of the people who are even head of the religious institutions, head of churches as pastors and this, many of them, they indulge in this nonsense. Many of them have mental health issues themselves. Very many of them. And this is a matter. And they are the ones, some of them are the ones who come out to set the example, to make the society look more to the church. The truth of the matter is that the church, as far as many of us are concerned, that we've come to know based on the way we practice it, and based on the way the postulations of the Bible even, are. It's a place where we renew ourselves. We examine ourselves as human beings, try to be better people so that we can be more relevant constructively, in good ways to society. But the matter is that we have churches everywhere, and a lot of people are churchgoers, and coming out of the church does not translate into societal good. To that extent, there is no way the church is the solution. You understand the picture of what I'm saying? And again, religion is such, whether Muslim, whether Islam or Christianity, is such a place where people have leeway. It's very, a lot of compromises here and there. People can easily get away with things and all of that. But truly, what we need as a society is a society that gives power to the rule of law. A society where the law, okay, is the standard, is what people look at. You understand what I'm saying? Now, where the law does not forgive. When you are right before the law, you are right before the law. If you are wrong before the law, you are wrong before the law. Now, that is very important. Now, when we have a stable society that respects the law and the rule of law, society is standardized. Religion cannot bring that about the way we practice it in Nigeria. And this is where we, as whether we are Christians, don't get it wrong, I am a Christian, I consider myself a better Christian, than most of these charlatans we see all around. You understand what I'm saying now? But I came to realize that my own Christianity, okay, is one that helps me to define myself as a human being, refine myself, looking at the examples set by good people in the Bible, looking at the examples set by Christ and the apostles of Christ and those who preach how we should be as human beings to our neighbors. Now, if I take that out and I translate it, you know, into a practical use. Now I become a better person to society. But what do we have? We have a mammoth number of people going to churches and going to mosques. They come out of the church every Sunday. They go out there. Many of them, okay, they become problem to society, which means that whenever they get out of the church, okay, it's not impacting positively on society. So to that extent, I argue very strongly that the church or the mosque or the this, they are not where we have to find our succor. They are not at all. It's far from it. I met one guy in my place of work the other day. He was telling me he was going to pray. There's a Muslim, he prays 5 times a day or so, and all of that. And I was puzzling, you know. And I don't know, about 3 o'clock in the night and all of that. He asked me to just hold on for him, that he's going to pray and all of that. And when he came, I engaged him a bit. You understand what I'm saying now? I don't know him too much, so I don't know. Actually, know I cannot make any. I don't know what he does and all that. But I do know that the majority of those that are holding sway as leaders in Nigeria, they are Muslims. They pray 5 times a day, and yet they are the most corrupt people that this world has ever known. They are the people that are making sure that those roads are not built, those hospitals are not built. They are the people that are making sure that our educational infrastructure, they are not in place. They are the people that are making sure that the things that make a society work, they are not there because they are stealing them. And at the end, for everything they steal, they deprive society of, it turns back and become a problem to society. And yet, every Friday they are in their mosque, they are praying. They are observing the prayer 5 times a day. So honestly, I think that our solution is not in any of these religious institutions. Our solution is a practical decision by the people of Nigeria to ensure that we put right people in the right places, strengthen our laws, make our institutions functional, make them functional without compromise. And society will be guided by that. Today, UK is the UK is has no. I don't know if UK has any natural resources. This UK is more like a service country in itself, but they they provided structures within their institutions to make the society work. Everybody is cared for. People with mental health issues, some of them are discovered even as children growing up in their what's it called, early stages in life. Year one, year two, they monitor. They want to know what is up. Is this child autistic? Why is this child, not able to pick up the same way other children are picking up? Is this child, having LD, learning disability? They begin to, assess and assess and assess until they are able to diagnose exactly what is wrong. There are children that are born here. Some of them they don't start talking early. Some of them don't start learning early, and all of that. They immediately, get the required, professionals, whether social workers or pediatrics or this and that. They begin to follow up and all of that. We don't have that in our society. And probably if we do, some of these things we see with the Osinachis and all of that, they will be greatly reduced or if not totally eradicated. It's not to say that the UK or the West, they are perfect. No, there are still, loopholes here and there. But imagine if these bricks are not there, how society would be like. This is the way ours is at the moment. Osinachi, everybody is talking about right now. The truth of the matter is that how many more Osinachis do we have out there? Which voice we did not hear? Which cry we did not hear? Those died in silence. And there are many shades to domestic violence. It's not even just about beating alone. That the emotional torture that that comes from both men and women and all of that. And some of these things, okay, we just be linked to depression. We just be linked to one societal challenge and all of that, created by society itself. Now, even coming to talk about the religion, many are saying, oh, it is better to live than to die there. People have been so caged religiously to the extent that even in marriages where they could walk away, they are afraid to do so because they don't know what society is going to say. They don't know what the church is going to say. I was listening to the Paul Inyeti talking. Even this woman, this Osinachi, and all of that, hiding her shame, hiding her cry from the public, from society, because she's been groomed, like so many others, to believe that you must make the marriage work. You must make the marriage work. And there are so many others who are out there. There are so many mothers of ours too. People are talking right now. Many people are making all this, this and that and that and that. If you go to so many people's homes and all of that, it is the exact same example you see. Now, we want, we do not desire a Nigeria where some things change and some things remain the way they are. We truly desire a Nigeria where everything, okay, holistically will change. But it must start from somewhere. And that work must start with stabilizing the system. They will begin to look at other structures that are tied to the major structures. These are structures tied to major structures. The issues of health. Imagine health receiving very minimal attention in our country. Very minimal. At the end of the day, how do we curb these things? And a religious leader will come out and say, oh, Jesus Christ said this, Jesus Christ said that, this, that. It doesn't go beyond the pulpit. It doesn't go beyond the four walls of his own church building. The people come out, they are the same way they are. They have nothing to be afraid of. You don't have to go to church, as a matter of fact, to understand that there are bricks, there are areas you don't cross as far as society is concerned, because the laws are strengthened. A couple of months ago, somebody called me. He's got some things he's doing in Edo State, and he feels that, oh, we are close to certain ministry in government, and he wanted passage from the ministry so that I can get some of those things he was doing to get them, working and all of that. Of course, I know him, okay, and all of that, and I presented his case to the relevant commissioner and all that, and the commissioner got back to me to say, this person is not qualified because these are the rules, for these things to work. This person in question is not qualified, to get these things done and all of that. And I got back to the person and said, man, bro, there's shortfall. You have not met the requirement for you to be able to practice this thing that you want to do in Edo State and all of that. And he said, man, I told no, now your people now talk to them now. There should be a waiver and all of that. I told him point blank, I said, man, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. This is what the law says. These are the requirements set by the state. Because if you consider that I am close to the ministry, then I should speak on your behalf so there will be a waiver. What does that do? That eventually puts everything, compromises the entire system. And that is exactly what we have been doing in that country. Compromising everybody because of favoritism, because of this, and because of that. Our emotions take over our head. But the era we are right now, we must separate our emotions from our heads to build a society. So I'm looking at this young lady's case as a case that, looking at the kind of attention, the traction that this lady's case has, has accumulated, has driven, I probably would expect a responsible government to look at this young lady's case and say, okay, let us begin to address societal issues relating to matters like this. Let us begin to lay structures. Let series of legislation begin to spin out as a result of this. But no, the Minister of Women Affairs is moving around, gallivanting, trying to score cheap points. Oh, we'll take care of the children. We'll make sure this and make sure that. What structure are you laying down for all other women that are suffering this kind of things in their houses? What structure are we laying down for people to have the confidence to even come out to say, this is what I'm going through? What structure are we laying down for people to be able to get the right counseling provided for by states? What structures are we laying down to identify children who are in abusive relationships, who are learning from abusive relationships, so that when they grow up, these children are already molded in a way that they will not copy what their fathers did to their mothers, or they will not copy what their mothers, is doing to their own fathers. What structure? The minister is taking pictures with the children, saying all sort of, political shit. Some people are even clapping. We have a problem. Our problem, look, this lady is gone. She's dead. She's gone. But if her case is not one that society will pick to eventually correct a number of cases, then it's a continuously failed state. There is no use. I listen to the pastor talking, I was like, oh, come to the church, we will do this, we will do that. Bullshit! You've been there. You guys have been doing this and doing that, and yet this is what we are having. This is what we are having. I mean, it's not just about this church. It's about all of them generally. It's about all the mosques generally. This is why our advocacy is we need to get our political temperature right by ensuring that our conscience, our heads come down to resolving, to ensuring that the right people are placed in the right positions, so that we can begin to drive some of these things. I've always mentioned this. There's a place called Madrid Arena. I lived in Madrid a long time. Madrid Arena. Several years back, probably nearly 10 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, there was stampede in that Madrid Arena. Madrid Arena is a mini stadium, There was stampede, and 3 children died in that stampede. It was a music concert, I think. So there was stampede, and some 3 children died in that stampede. Till today, people have gone to prison for that matter. Contractors who built the Madrid Arena have been summoned. I think one of the contractors has gone to prison. People have resigned from that matter. The state came to identify that there should have been more exits. There should have been more this. There should have been more that. Series of legislation has come out of that particular matter. 3 young deaths transformed the entire country. 3 deaths. 3 too many. Till today, that matter is still being referred to. Laws are still spinning out. Amendment are still coming out to make society better, so that a repeat of sort will be highly reduced or almost impossible. That's how societies work to correct themselves. Abuja, Kaduna train bombing. People have remained kidnapped. Some have died. There is nothing by way of legislation, by way of execution on the part of the executive to ensure that this will not happen again. As a matter of fact, cities in the north are still being captured by terrorists in Nigeria today. It is the same story all over again and again and again and again, and yet we don't have a system that can brace up to this. It's unfortunate these things are happening the way they are. Osinachi's death, okay, it is just a little role that her husband played in it. The entire society, the entire Nigerian state is more culpable in her death. And of course, the sufferings and the death of several others experiencing the same or similar things. Instead of us to begin to score cheap political points from the Ministry of Women Affairs, as they call it, or whatever it is, or the government of Buhari, or individual begin to look, I think that this should call for a very strong, sober reflection, a reflection that will drive us into ensuring that the entire fabric of society is strengthened, not along religious lines, but along political lines, the law strengthened, institutions strengthened, so that these things, we can. And what do we need to do? Is to provide a more holistic structure for our health infrastructure. Our health infrastructure does not just entail going to to teaching hospital alone for your headache or for your hernia or for this. It entails more than that. What have we done to our psychiatric institutions? How many mental health, issues are we diagnosing in people? And how are we supporting these people to live a fulfilled life? How are we supporting them to live among society, properly? Even among people making comments here and there are people suffering serious mental health issues that may eventually translate into things like this. It is very likely now that when you look at this man, this was his name, Peter Wanchuku, this Osinachi's husband, you may just find out that this man is a product of broken home himself. This man is a man that is mentally, ill, has mental health struggles. You may find out this man is a man that is unstable. There is just a thin line between sanity and insanity. A very thin line. But when proper societies get to diagnose people early, they are able to manage the situations better. If this man has had some diagnosis, probably this man is psychotic. Okay? This man, I hear from the things, I don't know which is true, but so many information is coming out about this man, so I don't really want to put any listing on any one of them and all of that. But it is very likely that this man is psychotic. It's very likely that this man, his own psychosis is such that is closely related to probably even having a bipolar disorder or something. It's very likely that this man's level of paranoia is one that, in fact, he even needs to be sessioned, not even need to even be living with his wife and children, because it's a risk to himself and to the family. And there's so many people like that. But these things cannot just come from the blues. They must be diagnosed. And diagnosis can only happen if structures are laid for this thing to take place. So instead of us battering, this man killed his wife, this one, this, that, how are we pushing government to react by way of ensuring that proper structures are in place for diagnosis to take place? I really think that every man in Nigeria, because of what we are struggling through mentally, whether you get money or you not get money, not really matter. People need to be diagnosed to find out, their mental capacities to be able to live amongst others. Here, when people are diagnosed with psychosis, they want to find out. I mean, there are children that we have admitted, they just say, man, these are drug-induced psychosis. We take care of them 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, as the case may be. Some of them get back to themselves and all of that, and they gradually, get back to the community and all of that. Their matter is resolved. Then psychology takes it from there to ensure that those things they refrain from those things that drove them into psychosis. But in Nigeria, people are so poor. There are so many problems. People can't pay their rent. They can't even feed, take care of their families. Some of them start taking to drugs, start taking to alcoholism. Before you know what is happening, the brain is damaged reasonably. And when they come home, they are paranoid. They become psychotic, never to be diagnosed. And they vent that anger on their own immediate families. But something led to that. So all the cry about this gospel singer, this. It is not just the church that failed her, because even if the church knew everything, there's nothing they could have done. Nothing. The entire society failed her. This girl was killed by Nigeria, not by her husband. Her death, Nigeria contributed larger percentage to her death. And so many others out there that are suffering similar things. They may not die, lose their lives, but they're already dead among the living. So many people, women, and in some cases, men. We have a lot. And this is why Peter Obi's voice is very loud. But before I come into Peter Obi, and I'm going to draw the correlation between Peter Obi's voice and this lady's case. But just now, I think yesterday, Peter Obi, in his own consultation and all of that, visited Edo State and met with the governor of Edo State. I'm going to play some excerpts for us to listen to. And then I'll start drawing the correlation from there. Let's take a listen. Please don't forget, share this broadcast. It's very important. Share, please, if you could. Let's take a listen.
Well, we're very grateful and pleased that His Excellency Governor Taobi found it fit to come and talk to us and consult with us this morning in Edo on his aspiration to be President of Nigeria. As you know, Edo is the heartbeat of Nigeria, and you cannot, it's very strategically placed, both physically and politically. For us in Edo, it's about Nigeria first. Whatever we're doing politically must be one that will strengthen and preserve our country. And our view is that this country, Nigeria, cannot be preserved and sustained if there's no fairness and equity. Because we need that unity. We need to realize that as a country, we all must feel that we are part of this country and have access and opportunities like any one of us. Anything that is not inclusive, Edo is not part of it. Because Edo wants us to build a strong, united country so that we can face the challenges ahead of us.
As you know, I'm one of those from my paper who are aspiring to serve this country. My aspiration is one of the fact that our country is going through a very difficult time, where we need to all make sacrifice in building a better nation for our children. You are somebody who is conversant, because of your background, of the enormity of the problem in this country today, that if not aggressively tackled from 2023, this country will not be there for all of us.
Okay, yeah, I quickly want to zero into Peter Obi now. we're going to have time to talk about. I'm going to be talking about Peter B as regular as possible, going forward. I want to salute the governor of Edo State. Governor Baseki, I don't know how to describe this man, but I think this man is a gift to Nigeria. And the earlier Nigeria appreciates this man, the better. Many people may have what they are saying. Okay, it's not really important to me. I have assessed him. There's a lot of wisdom, in his head. And there is a part of his discourse just now, that struck me. And I think, I salute his boldness for talking about it. I think right now that, we've had a history as a nation. We've had some very ugly history. We've had some beautiful things, about our nation, and we've had some very, trying things. Right now, the bottom line is for 2023, we need to have a unifier, one like I have described, that will be able to, stabilize the Nigerian, ship, so that we don't, we've hit some icebergs. There's no doubt about it, but there's a bigger one ahead, and all of that. And so, that is why I make strong case for Peter Obi. We've seen his track record. A lot of things are coming more and more about Peter Obi today. Now, the silent voice, the loud voice of Peter Obi on this matter is this. He understands the myriad of issues that we are faced with today as a nation. And the governor of Edo State said, while we are trying to determine who becomes the next president of Nigeria, the sentiment of this one are from north, that one are from this, that one from that, we should kill it. Because that sentiment has been there. There's a region in this country that has said certain regions cannot and must not produce presidents and all of that. In the time we are in right now, I think that every northerner, particularly the intellectuals, must understand that the time we are in right now, we have a nation that we must save. And the capacity to save this nation, okay, it is not a tribal capacity. It's a capacity that will rest on individuals that have distinguished themselves in their various field of endeavors. Now, in this particular case, I talked about Peter Obi. Whether Peter Obi is from Anambra State, is from Bauchi State, is from wherever he's from, it doesn't really matter. What matters right now is that we have a Peter Obi who is greatly distinguished, who has been part of different structures and has distinguished himself and all of that, and he's part of the same public structure. Looking at the array of human beings and individuals that are picking form to run for president, as a matter of fact, I listened to one joke of one of these young comedians who said that from the way people are picking forms to run for president, it's looking increasingly like the contestants eventually are going to be more in number than those to vote for them and all that. And I laughed. And but we should be able to right now sieve, the seed from the chaff. Now, I believe very strongly that a Peter Obi presidency, if we are lucky to have it, we have to stabilize the Nigerian state. And then the Nigerian state will now begin to, because Peter Obi wants to invest heavily in health and education, very strongly. Peter Obi wants a situation where Nigerians don't need to travel abroad for medical treatment. Now, if he's able to do that, that investment that is going to go into health, that investment will make the health professionals begin to elaborate, to now begin to look at areas of, psychiatric medicine, wherein begin to look at areas of social care for the Nigerian people, so that some of these cases, probably in time, will begin to have some address. I am not saying that Abi is a messiah that will do everything, but right now we need a leader, okay, that will stabilize the ship, so that with massive four, I mean, 3-4 years of investment into our medical infrastructure. Believe me, these issues will start receiving attention. This is the truth of the matter. With massive budget into health, into education, with massive cuts away from this thing they call this their own what's it called corruption net. They call this one they say they are subsidizing fuel. That the money they use to subsidize fuel will be 10 times more than the budget for health and for education. It's massive madness. And we have a man who has said, we cannot do that. We cannot do that. This infrastructure that deals directly with the human beings should receive more attention than the subsidy you say you are giving to petroleum. The billions and multi-trillions you are giving to petroleum that you are eventually stealing, investing into your own interest. That's what they are doing. All these multi-hundreds of trillions they say they are putting into what's it called a subsidy. It is their own companies that are benefiting from it at the expense of the Nigerian people. And this man has said, we need to stop that. Give attention to health, give attention to education. That alone buys me over. Because the health infrastructure is very massive. Our social care infrastructure is very massive. There is like zero investment into social care. What we consider as social care is what this Minister of Women Affairs or whatever it is they are doing right now with this Osinachi family, with the children. They are using cosmetic arrangement, taking pictures to be seen to be doing something. Meanwhile, all the other Osinachis that are quietly die in their houses, some that we may never get to hear or know what happens to them. So the loud voice of Peter will be to say, support my candidacy to become the candidate of the PDP and eventually become the president of Nigeria. It's a loud voice to begin to address issues of domestic violence in Nigeria, to begin to address issues of so many other issues. Religious madness, as a matter of fact. I don't know why no government in Nigeria has taken that seriously. To begin to prune down all these, church and mosque structures we have. Prune them down, adequately. And bring sanity into the system. Because from inside these places, there are so many things. They tend to hypnotize the people. There are some homes you go to. I'm going to zero into the families right now. There are some homes you go to. The woman respects her pastor more than her own husband in the house. Why would that not be a problem in the first place? The woman respects her own pastor more than her own husband in the house. There are some homes you go to. Before the man says 1, the woman is saying 100. Before the man says 1, the woman is setting blows already. All of these things. I'm not trying to put blame on the woman here. Don't get me wrong. But when we have a proper system and a proper structure in place, you will find out that as much as we have mental health issues with our men, the same way we have mental health issues with our women. There is no church I have seen in Nigeria that is directing people to go and get checked, to see if there are mental health challenges that needs to be sorted for them to fit into society properly. Everything is not about what Jesus will do. Jesus has provided, the instructions for us. The rest of us is for us to now use our wisdom to put the rest in proper perspective and live better in societies. Nobody is immune to mental health issues. None. I must register that. Nobody's immune to it. Somebody may be very well today, and for one reason or the other, the person can be diagnosed with any sort of mental health issues that will require this person to be treated, to be supported. So it's not a case that is some people's case and not others. That's why I said earlier that there is a thin line between sanity and insanity. A very thin line. So my people, while we wail and discuss Osinachi and all that has happened to her, I think we need as much energy into pressuring our system, our government, our institutions to begin to address some of these challenges from the structural point of view, not from religious point of view. That way, if we are doing a service to Osinachi, it is service that we should ensure that the cases of that of Osinachi, they are reduced in our society. And the only way this can happen is when we have a leadership that is responsible enough to understand where we are and the needs of the nation and the time that we are in. And I tell you, looking at all of these guys who are out there right now, jostling to become president of Nigeria, Peter Obi holds the key to this. So Nigerians, if we want to do service to Osinachi, I want to appeal to us. Let us take 2023 presidential election personal. Some of these, I think delegates the election by the delegates to determine what's it called, the flag bearers of the various political parties. I think it's going to take place in May, so we don't have much time. So let's use the time we've got now to begin to talk to the delegates we know. Appeal to them that this time we cannot afford to get it wrong. Let us give some chance to Peter Obi. He looks most qualified and most ready to lead the Nigerian state to where, we probably would love it to be. And let us heed to the voice of the governor of Edo State. The sentiment of, this is not Igbo man, this is not this and that, we should bury it. The governor of Edo State made that very clear. Nigeria must not look at competence and not look at where the person is coming from. As far as this person is confirmed to be a Nigerian, the Nigerian people, those who call themselves godfathers and the determinants, they must not look, because we're in where we are right now. This is in fact, we have a huge crossroad, and we must get it right. So my own theory of of appeasing the death of this guy, the tragic death of this this angel of song, is for us to empower the right people to take over the affairs of the Nigerian state. So that when the right people are there, okay, even the Bible says, our own Bible we study says, it says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But let's not mistake that righteous to be people who go to church. It's not at all. It is people who have the heart and the experience to give back to society. Those are the righteous people. They are not churchgoers. Not necessarily. So it's not about people who go to church or people who read the Bible the most. But Jesus Christ said, so long as you did not do this to the least of your brethren, you have not done it to me. The Jesus Christ did not say you must be a Christian to do it to your brethren. He did not say you must be a mosque, this thing to do it to your brethren. So as a human being, if you cannot do it to the least of your brethren, that means you have not done it to me. So the righteous person is a human being who thinks beyond himself and look at the need of other people even more than his own personal need. That is a righteous person. That is a righteous person in the sight of God. Somebody who feels for others, who cares about others, who is ready to be there for others, who will lead from the front. We have seen that example in Peter Obi. The man is a righteous man, is the kind of people that I'm sure heaven will even approve. So people, whether you are from the north, from the south, wherever you are from, without sentiments, and make a passionate appeal, let us bring some light at Mr. Peter Gregory Obi and give him a chance to steady the Nigerian ship, to restore the Nigerian ship, to give us a nation that we can pick up from whatever is going to stop and begin to build on. So in time to come, we will look back and truly, honestly say that Lady of Song, Sister Osinachi, she's living happily and peacefully. That is the only service we can do for her. For that note, my people, I'm sure that we are going to have a lot more to talk about this subject matter as time goes on. But for now, this is where I'd like to end this broadcast. Please, let's not forget, let's give some time to look at all of these things again. And please share this broadcast. It could equally be that is the only way, that is one way you are supporting to get these things, across. So at the end of the day, we all have come to that, consensus point together where our country will truly move forward because we've all worked for it. Bye for now. God bless you.
Are you a business owner? Do you make your own products? This is your best opportunity ever. Register your brand now with the first and largest marketplace promoting Nigerian-made products. Get access to over 17 million shoppers and customers currently in need of your products. Download on Google Play Store now to register or visit ekioja.com. Focus on creating your
Comrade Show, wait. Comrade Lante Oriente. This is the Comrade Show.